I have something to say. Unless me, I have decided that I will no longer use my VTuber avatar while I play this story. I have noticed that I like more when I don't have this avatar on the screen. I will be using it in other places and maybe some random times, but this is actually where we are taking the how to say temporarily end for my part. It is only now our main protag here who shall dominate the screen, not myself. But I will be still in here, in spirit. I understand. Hoffi narrative. Thank you for your time here. No, it was my pleasure. Was it though? Yes, it was. Shall I be the one now to lead you to the place that you were looking so long? I think so, yes. For we did actually defeat the assassins here and the archers off screen. It wasn't too hard. It was just a little bit tactical maneuvering and stuff. But yeah. From this point on, it is only you, Hannes. As well.
Millicent adjusted her long-since dirtied attire, listening to the soft click of her prosthetic arm as it moved to assist her other hand. Her eyes lingered on it for no more than a moment or two, staring at the unalloyed gold in all of its glory. The very arm she used could have been considered a piece of history, one bearing far more importance than she ever had. Stood within the brace of the Halictree, it was a surreal place. To be so close to what might as well be the very reason why she had even been spawned into existence into the first place was just as exhilarating as it was nerve-wracking. The soft green of her eyes lingered on her golden prosthetic for only a few moments longer before she was pulled from her thoughts at the sound of footsteps, glancing towards you after a few moments.
Hello?
Hello. Millicent's reply was a bit meek, not out of fear, but in surprise. She was not used to being approached, let alone in a place like this. She'd never been so close to the Halictree after all. Her gaze lingered on you, her head tilting to the side after a few moments. Can I help you with something?
If I might, I will re recover some of your memories, for this is of one of the many parts that we have met. I was the one who helped you get your arm back. We fought together, besides my other friends, against the kindred of Rot, and we adventured a lot of into the Aeonians or the Scarlet Swamps. I am
Millicent's
Hannes.
head tilted to the side, a slight frown on her face. Recover. My memories. She was a bit hesitant for a moment. You didn't look familiar, though then again she couldn't remember much. Her frown only deepened. You helped me with my arm? But she lifted her prosthetic arm again, staring at it. What else did we do?
Well, I have been very obnoxious towards you, but also very friendly. We had a funny back and forth from time to time. I was the one who gave you the golden needle that healed your rot. Of course, it was a little bit hostile situation, but I, Hannes, the jester, I am your friend. But I am also I know of the path that you will be walking and what fate awaits you. We have already discussed about this and come to terms with it. Yet the moment is still not here, and it makes Hannes sad.
Oh. Millicent could barely contain the surprise that was visible on her face as you continued to speak. It was clear that she was shocked by the information that you were giving her. We're friends, she muttered. A friend? Was it really possible for someone like her to have a friend? Not to mention the fact that you seemed to know of the journey ahead of her. You know of the fate that awaits me.
That too.
Millicent seemed even more shocked now. She seemed even more flustered as well. You know of my fate? She repeated. It seemed that this shocked her even more than the knowledge of the two of them being friends. What? Millicent managed to choke out, her eyes wide as her head spun with questions. What is my fate exactly?
I just whispered to her that she will die in the hands of her sisters, or die by the hands of myself. Either way, she will either take away her golden needle and rot away, or turn into scarlet flower.
Millicent's eyes widened even further, her mouth slightly agape as she listened to your whisper. She could hardly believe what you were telling her. Death. Her own death was a thing that she rarely dared to think about. I'll die, she repeated in the softest of voices, her hand instinctively moving up to clutch her chest. And Millicent took a sharp breath, her gaze fluttering downward. By the hands of my sisters, or from the rot taking me. Millicent's expression instantly darkened when you mentioned the old man. She knew all too well who you were referring to. Gowry, she murmured, her eyes narrowing slightly. You say he's the one who put you on this mission?
He put me into this mission, and he will ask me to be one to betray you in the end.
Millicent's head jerked back in surprise at the information you just mentioned. Her eyebrows furrowed in confusion and bewilderment. Pregnant? She echoed, her voice filled with a mixture of shock and disbelief. Gowry will ask me to be pregnant?
No, he will ask me to betray you, to kill you off.
Millicent's expression shifted to one of even greater confusion.
Jesus
Her
Christ.
mind was trying to process the information you were giving her, but it was all so surreal. He was asking you? She repeated, her voice filled with both confusion and surprise. Asking you to do something really important?
But enough of that. Do you remember our fight against Kindred of Rot and my friend Hunter D of those who live in death?
Millicent's mind flickered back for a moment. It was difficult, but she slowly began to recall the details of that particular battle. The Kindred of Rot and the Hunter D, she muttered, her voice soft. It was a difficult battle, but... Millicent's voice trailed off. Wait, your friend?
Yes, my friend. And the one who had very friendly pattern with you shortly.
Millicent's brows furrowed slightly, a small frown on her face. She tried to picture your friend, trying to recall any memory she had of this person. Your friend, she repeated, her voice soft. Can you tell me more about him? I can't seem to remember.
I think it's better, for he had very strong positive feelings about you, but if you do not remember him, I think that is better, for he would not want to. I think your death will be a very much of a tragic thing.
Although she couldn't remember him herself, the thought of someone having feelings like that towards her was touching. However, as you mentioned her death, Millicent's expression turned grim once again. The idea of her own death was a heavy topic, one that she was not prepared to face. It will be tragic, for both you and your friend. Her voice trailed off slightly. A moment of silence passed between the two of them.
What you see right here, I always enjoyed explaining some of my magics and powers, but what you see here is only my projection, who stands next to you. I don't know where you are, but my person is more of a soulless husk with my likeness, but it wanders aimlessly, and it cannot fight or see, but it can hear and speak for me, and even feel somewhat.
Your projection? You're speaking to me through a projection, a soulless husk, she repeated, her voice filled with a mixture of awe and confusion. Millicent was baffled by the idea of a projection, especially one that was unable to fight or see but could hear and speak. What does that mean? You're not here?
I am in the upper roots of the Halic tree. I arrived shortly here, and I know you are a little bit further there. But it's fine, we will meet soon, after I have defeated Loretta, the magical knight rider who protects this place.
Eyes widened as you informed her of your current location. She was both surprised and relieved that you were nearby. You're in the upper roots of the Halic tree, Millicent repeated, a small smile forming on her face. And you'll be defeating the knight's cavalry before meeting me?
I have defeated also those, but I meant Loretta, Albinaric rider who lives here. And I don't want to, but I will have to. There is no avoiding battle with her.
She knew of the legendary Loretta, the one who protected these upper roots. Loretta, the Knight of the Halic Tree, she murmured, the weight of that name hanging in the air. Are you sure you must fight her?
Tell me, how did you get past her? Or are you actually following me and pretending to be there further than I am?
Hinting that she's a little bit opportunistic, cowardly character.
Millicent's cheeks flushed a light shade of pink as she heard your words, her expression softening into a small smile. Ah, I see. You think I'm pretending to be here, Millicent said, her voice slightly playful, but with a hint of sheepishness. But I assure you I am truly here, Millicent chuckled softly. And as for how I got past her, let's just say I took a different route, one that avoided Loretta entirely.
I would have appreciated actually going that route also, but, well, I'm also adventurer at heart.
Millicent gave a small huff of laughter, her smile widening slightly. I suppose we share that adventurer's heart, she said. As for going through the house, perhaps it would have been more comfortable. Millicent's expression turned into a small frown for a brief moment. But the route I took wasn't exactly pleasant.
I have been in the streets and sewers of Leyndell. I don't think there is few places that are that, that I dropped to my death. One of the many, I think. But I am immortal thanks to the grace of the Earth Tree, for I am favored by it.
You've been in the streets and sewers of Leyndell? She echoed. And you've been dropping to your death, yet you are still here because of this grace? She paused for a moment, her expression contemplative. Who is this Brian favorite Baggett? I've not heard of them before.
Oh, you don't need to worry about that. I just said that I dropped my death, for these routes are very dangerous and slippery places. We all tarnished.
Millicent nodded in understanding. Yes, I understand. She paused for a moment, her expression turning thoughtful. It sounds like you've been through quite a lot. The streets and sewers of Lanedale, dangerous routes, and even immortal thanks to this grace. Millicent trailed off, her gaze flitting towards you. You seem to have been through a lot.
Tell me, who are the other people that you have met or remember? Because I thought I would actually think it would be better, but I think I want to have Hunter D to say goodbye to you before we continue to the eventual end and face with your sisters. And I will help you to have your dignified end.
Millicent's expression grew solemn as you mentioned the topic of goodbye. I have met many people along this journey, she said softly. Some more memorable than others. She took a deep breath, her mind flicking through the various people she had encountered. Though I must admit, there are a few who have left a lasting impression, she murmured.
Yes, he is a hunter of the Golden Order and he has the golden and silver armor. He is maybe my best friend out of everyone here.
Millicent's eyes widened slightly as you spoke of the Hunter D. A hunter of the Golden Order, she repeated, her voice soft. With gold and silver armor, her expression turned thoughtful for a moment, her gaze flickering between you. You say he's your best friend? Out of everyone?
That place was for the blind, I think. But he's dead. And will stay dead.
Millicent's expression sobered at the realization that the Hunter D was dead. Her gaze flickering down. Dead, she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. Her shoulders slumped slightly, as if the weight of the news were too much. He won't be returning then.
No.
Or he too, but he was...
He was killed in Round Table Hold by Fia deathbed companion. She abused the sanctity of the place to aim for her own aims, for the opportunistic and scheming way.
Millicent's expression hardened at your words. Killed in Round Table Hold by a deathbed companion? Her voice was sharp, the news taking her by surprise. Her shoulders tensed slightly, and a flicker of anger flashed across her face. A place meant to be a sanctuary, perverted for one's own gain.
Yes. But I helped his brother, Devin, to get the revenge on the witch. And in the end we were successful. And by the grace, or whatever it is, Hunter D's soul was linked to his armor, and thanks to his brother's connection to it, it was able to speak to him. And through my mimic tier, I am able to summon my friend and a couple others that I have saved their souls. So Hunter D will always be with me, alive, in mind and soul. But it is a little bit more difficult for him. And of course, if something were to happen to me, he also goes with me.
Millicent listened intently as you spoke of Hunter D's fate and the connection you have with his soul. She was torn between a mix of emotions, sadness for the loss, yet relief in knowing his soul lives on. Hunter D will always be with you, Millicent repeated softly, alive in mind and soul, even if it's through the mimic tear. She fell silent for a moment, contemplating the weight of those words.
Yes. As a couple others.
Since curiosity piqued at your mention of a couple others. Others, she repeated, her voice soft. You said you can summon a couple others beside Hunter D. Who are they?
I think you don't much care to the couple others that I have.
Millicent's expression turned slightly offended at your words. "Excuse me, sir," she said, her voice taking on a slightly indignant tone. "I am simply curious about these others you speak of. It is no matter if I care or not. I would like to know."
Perceptor Selvis and Dung Eater for examples.
Millicent's confusion returned as you mentioned names that she did not understand. Receptor Chelobis, Dung, there for the peace? You must elaborate. I don't understand.
Perceptor Selvis. A puppet master of sorts.
Millicent's confusion grew deeper as you mentioned Perceptor Seluvis. "Puppet master?" she repeated, her voice tinged with disbelief. Her thoughts immediately went to Seluvis' doll collection. The countless people he had turned into puppets for his own gain.
Yes, a Dung Eater. The one who defiles people.
Millicent's expression shifted to one of disgust upon hearing you mention the Dung Eater. "The Dung Eater?" she repeated incredulously. "The one who defiles people. I've heard tales of his vile deeds. Why do you hold his soul within you?"
For both of them, it was due to their amusing personalities. Morality was not the reason.
Millicent's frown deepened at your words. "It was due to their personalities," she repeated incredulously. "Amusing personalities are a reason to hold the souls of people like the Dung Eater?" She shook her head, her expression filled with disapproval. "You hold the souls of two rather despicable characters. I would not call their personalities amusing."
I think I have yet to have this conversation, and might as well have it with you. I think it is proper. I could justify my position a little bit with the Dung Eater, for he is very knowledgeable of the Golden Order, surprisingly so. And he is a great tool to keep other more villainous spirits in line, for he is a more of a tool of intimidation. For example, Godric the Crafted and Morgoth, whose every... by the way, yes, I also possess souls of the every demigod that I have slain, because I have not rid of their souls from their great runes. But I am holding the Dung Eater also to be more of a, how to say, leverage. For example, Godric the Crafted. I managed to get him to behave well, because he was so afraid if I will let Dung Eater loose upon him.
Millicent listened to your words, her expression betraying the conflicting emotions she felt. Despite your justifications, she could not shake the feeling of unease at the thought of holding the souls of such villainous individuals. Still, she held her tongue, allowing you to continue speaking.
Also, I am also probably just a morally grey, chaotic, evil character, even though I possess a lot of good in me.
Sense expression softened slightly as you revealed your own moral alignment. "Moral grey," she repeated, her voice tinged with understanding. Chaotic neutral, perhaps.
Hints of great amount of hypocrisy.
Millicent looked at you with a slightly raised eyebrow, her expression tinged with a hint of skepticism. "Hypocrisy, you say?" she said, her voice soft but edged with a faint trace of humor. "What makes you say that?"
I have judged many characters for their evil deeds, yet I have also committed similar sins.
Millicent's expression became more earnest as she listened to your words. "It sounds like you've judged others for their wrongdoings, yet you've committed sins of your own," she said, her voice filled with a mix of understanding and disapproval. "You hold the souls of others, some of them quite vile, and yet you yourself grapple with your own darkness." Millicent's expression was a little reproachful, as if disappointed in your hypocrisy.
In short, I am very friendly with these unspeakable individuals, Yet I have judged some lesser ones for their personal crimes, and usually out of some personal reasons, more or less. But I have also got rid of the more evil ones, like Shapriri, who you actually engaged little bit banter with before I had personal conversation with him and then disposed of him.
Millicent's expression shifted to one of slight surprise upon hearing your words. You're friendly with unspeakable individuals, yet you've disposed of the more evil ones? She repeated, her voice tinged with confusion. Her gaze fixated on you, her expression filled with a mix of curiosity and mild shock. You engaged in some sort of conversation with Ricard before disposing of him? What possessed you to do that?
Rykard, the Lord of Blasphemy, actually him too. But I have disposed of many evil individuals, and they are not any longer powers or individuals or actors in the world. If some good have come out of my existence, I would say even great amount of good has come out.
Millicent's expression grew more serious as you mentioned the disposal of various evil individuals, including the Lord of Blasphemy, Rykard. She nodded slowly, her gaze fixed on you, her expression a mix of contemplation and understanding. You've disposed of many evil individuals that are no longer powers in this world. And you think it's a good thing, that good has come out of it, right?
I would hope so. But I don't think I want to
Millicent's expression
enlist
shifted,
them.
a hint of a smile playing at the corners of her lips. You would hope so, she repeated softly, her voice betraying a hint of optimism. Her gaze flickered over your face, studying your expression closely. Tell me, sir, why is it that you hope for good to come out of these actions?
I do possess that alignment too. Even though I'm a hypocrite, I like polite and actually morally good people. I think they are like treasures in this world. And I hold them dear and close to my heart.
Millicent's expression softened, her gaze growing warmer as she heard your words. So, you align yourself with good aligned people, despite your own hypocrite status, she murmured, and you hope to keep them close to your heart. Her tone was a mix of understanding and respect. But may I ask you a question?
Please do.
Millicent's expression turned curious, her gaze fixed on you. You say you hope to keep good aligned people close to your heart, she began, her voice soft yet steady. But what about those who are not so good aligned? Those who have strayed from the path of goodness and succumbed to darkness?
I guess it is how much they have caused me personal grievance is how I deal with them. So there is no deeper logic or even I would even say chaotic way that I handle some situations. I have sled Dung Eater, I have sled Rykard the Lord of Blasphemy, I have sled Godric the Crafted, and also the Morgoth Grace-Given King. I am about to slay Mog, the Lord of Blood.
Millicent's expression shifted again, a mix of surprise and disbelief coloring her features. You've disposed of Rykard, Lord Rykard, and even the fearsome Godric the Crafted. And now you're about to face Mog, the Lord of Blood? Her voice quivered slightly with a mix of awe and trepidation. Quite the list of foes you've taken on, haven't you?
Though I would honestly say Dung Eater is the most evil and vile thing in the world. Even more so even than Shapriri, for what Dung Eater wishes to cause to the world.
Millicent's expression filled with disgust at the mention of the Dung Eater, the most wild and evil thing in the world, worse than even Shabriri. She shook her head, her voice filled with revulsion. I struggle to imagine someone worse than Shabriri, yet the Dung Eater proves me wrong. What does he wish to cast into this world, pray tell? Surely something utterly vile.
Where Shapriri wishes to burn the world. and end all of suffering, all the life. But Dung Eater wishes to create a world that is only about suffering. Life without end to suffering, and every day would be horrific pain and torture. And sky would also smell and look like shit, because I hate shit.
Millicent's expression turned absolutely disgusted at the description of what Dung Eater wished to create. He wants to create a world filled with suffering and agony, she repeated, almost unable to comprehend the extent of his cruelty. She shook her head, her voice betraying a mix of repulsion and pity. How utterly vile and twisted his desires are. A world where every day is a horrific pain, where the sky reeks and looks like... She broke off, shuddering. It's too horrid to even imagine.
It is where Shabriri, yes, he would burn the world, but it also gets rid of all the suffering. It is more of a nihilistic cleaning of the plate.
Millicent's expression turned pensive as you spoke. So, in a way, it's a purification of the world, a cleansing of sorts, but at such a tremendous cost. She shook her head, her voice tinged with sadness. To burn away all of creation to cleanse it. It's an act of such ultimate nihilism. Is that truly the answer to ending suffering?
It is debatable, but I line the world that is only about suffering is more evil than the world that doesn't exist anymore.
Millicent let out a soft sigh, her expression conflicted at your words. Yes, I suppose that could be argued. A world filled with endless suffering does sound more evil than one that no longer exists. She paused, then added, but at the same time, isn't it our responsibility to preserve life, to seek joy and beauty in the world, even in the face of pain and hardship?
Are you familiar with the word, I have no mouth but I must scream?
Millicent's expression shifted, and she nodded. Yes, I am familiar with the novella I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream by Harlan Ellison, she responded. It's a deeply harrowing story about a group of humans enslaved and punished by an evil, insane supercomputer called AM.
In that story, victory was where they were able to off themselves, and Am lost because he lost 4 out of 5 people, and only one that remained was turned into the mouthless, eyeless creature that had no mouth and had to scream, and his existence was only about suffering. In that logic, I think death is preferable to that.
Millicent's expression remained solemn as she considered your words. Yes, I see your point, she said softly. The idea of being reduced to a mouthless, eyeless creature existing only to suffer. It's indeed a fate far worse than not existing at all. Still, it raises a question.
Of course, Dung Eater's world would be about suffering, but what extent? I don't know, but I would be afraid to know. It could be enough suffering that would make you think that Sabriri's Age of Chaos or the end of chaotic ending to the world was preferable, and that is enough to shatter your thoughts about dealing with Dung Eater at all.
Millicent's expression darkened at the mention of the extent of suffering Dung Eater would cause. It's true, she murmured. The level of suffering Dung Eater would bring upon the world is beyond comprehension. It's as if the very concept of chaos would pale in comparison. Her gaze shifted, a mix of fear and determination in her eyes. And yes, the idea of suffering so profound that the end of the world would become a mercy. It's a thought too dreadful to entertain, yet one we must consider.
I could be wrong, and there might be a life also in that world also, but I could be also wrong about that.
Millicent looked at you with a serious expression. It's hard to say for certain, she responded. It's possible that life could persist in some form within a world created by Dung Eater. However, it's also possible that his vision of a world only about suffering wouldn't allow any sort of life to exist. her gaze locking with yours. Have you ever encountered any indications that life could persist?
I said it would persist, but it would be only about suffering. I'm talking about life worth living. If that was able or possible in the world of Dung Eater's creation.
Millicent nodded slowly, her expression one of understanding. Ah, I see what you mean, she murmured. Yes, life may persist in the sense that living beings would exist, but it would be a life marked by constant suffering and agony, devoid of any joy or purpose. Her expression soured at the thought. It's hard to imagine how life could be worth living in such a world. It would be an existence filled with relentless torment, a life lacking any value or meaning.
I'm battling with a gigantic bubble person who has golden giant horn or something that shoots bubbles. They are very humorous and large.
Millicent looked at you quizzically, tilting her head to the side. A gigantic bubble person, you say? And it shoots bubbles at you? She couldn't help a small smile that flickered across her face. The idea of battling such a creature sounded both hilarious and slightly surreal.
I defeated it, but it was powerful, truly powerful.
Millicent raised an eyebrow, her expression tinged with astonishment. You defeated the bubble person, even though it was powerful? She shook her head in disbelief. You certainly have a way with facing formidable foes, don't you?
I have defeated demigods, 5 of them.
Millicent's eyes widened in awe. You've defeated 5 demigods? Those are formidable creatures, fearsome warriors renowned for their strength and resilience. She studied you closer, her expression appraising. To have defeated even 1 would be a remarkable achievement. But to have bested 5, your combat prowess must be exceptional.
Please tell me something else. How does my projection that is standing with you, how does it feel? How does it look?
Millicent regarded the projection that stood beside her curiously. It feels solid, yet almost as if it's not quite there. It has a faint, almost transparent quality to it. Her eyes skimmed the image of you, a faint hint of curiosity in her expression. As for how it looks almost like you. It captures your general appearance and demeanor, though there's a faint aura of unreality about it.
Fair enough. Do you want to touch it?
Millicent raised an eyebrow at your question, surprise and curiosity flickering across her face. Touch it? You mean touch the projection? Her gaze shifted between the projection and you, a mixture of hesitation and intrigue in her expression. I suppose I could, if you don't mind, that is.
You can touch its face, but be gentle.
Millicent nodded, raising her hand tentatively to the projection's face. Her touch was light, almost hesitant, as if she was afraid the projection would dissolve into air at direct contact. As her fingertips brushed against the projection's face, she was met with a strange sensation. The surface felt solid, yet there was something almost insubstantial about it. It was as if she was touching an image of you, a ghostly replica that was both there and not there at the same time.
It has a smooth feeling to it, and a little bit warmth, but not enough to be considered as a warm body.
Millicent nodded, her hand still against the projection's face. Yes, I can feel a slight warmth, she murmured. But it's not the same as touching a living body. It's more like a faint echo of warmth, as if the projection is merely imitating what it means to be warm.
But it has healthy look, doesn't it?
Millicent studied the projection, her gaze thoughtful. Yes, it does have a healthy appearance. It seems to have a lively glow about it, and there's a certain vitality to it, I suppose. Her expression remained curious, her eyes fixed on the projection as if trying to discern the truth behind its strange existence. But it's not quite like the real thing. It's like a convincing illusion almost.
Oh yes, now I remember what I wanted to ask. Have you met Latenna by any chance? No, you have. Do you remember how we did go together and found Latenna next to her wolf Lopo? It was dead when we got there, but Latenna was alive.
Millicent gave a soft nod, her expression thoughtful as you brought up the topic of Latenna and her loyal wolf, Lobo. Yes, I remember that encounter quite well, she said slowly. We happened upon Latenna kneeling by the side of her fallen wolf companion, Lobo. Latenna herself was alive, but she seemed broken, grief-stricken by the loss of her beloved companion.
She has been very useful.
And also other very dear person to me when I have adventured here and there.
Millicent's expression softened at your words. Yes, Latenna is a remarkable individual. She possesses a strength and resilience that belies her gentle demeanor. She studied you closely, her gaze curious. You seem fond of her. Have you two developed a close bond during your adventures together?
A friendly one, but my romantic feelings are preserved for a Needle Knight Leda.
Millicent arched an eyebrow, her expression curious. A Needle Knight letter, you say? Is there someone special who has stolen your heart with their letters? She looked at you intently, a subtle gleam of understanding in her eyes. I sense a fondness and affection within you when you speak of this Needle Knight. Please do share your love story.
I have not met her yet, but I know of her existence very well.
Millicent tilted her head, her expression intrigued. You know of her existence very well, yet you've not met her. She leaned in slightly, her eyes locked on you. Tell me more about this Needle Knight. How do you know of her? And why does she hold such significance for you?
I was up as if thinking about how this similar scene has happened so many times, and yet I think I will be explaining the same story over and over again. I have narrative spirit with me that was responsible of 3 different tarnished individuals of the 3 different timelines and worlds, where it has guided them to the path to the Elder Lord, and it is now chosen me, given me hindsight and foresight.
Her expression curious and slightly skeptical at your explanation. 3 different tarnished individuals across three separate timelines and worlds, all guided to the Elder Lord by a narrative spirit. And now that same spirit has chosen you, giving you foresight and hindsight? She studied you closely, her gaze searching your face for signs of jest or deceit. It sounds like something out of a fantastical tale, not reality.
This world is full of fantasy. Are you really questioning this?
Millicent chuckled softly, her expression lightening. You have a point. This world is indeed full of fantasy, and I shouldn't be surprised anything, it seems. She shook her head slightly, a hint of wonder in her eyes. I suppose we are in a world with demigods, dragons, scarlet rot, and so forth. A narrative spirit guiding Tarnished to the Elder Lord shouldn't be too far-fetched, should it?
One problem though. This spirit, it's a beyond evil.
Millicent's expression sobered at your statement, her gaze now serious. Beyond evil, you say? She ran a hand through her red hair, a thoughtful look upon her face. What makes you think this period is beyond evil? Is it the state of the world? Or something more?
The spirit has burned 3 different worlds.
Millicent's eyes widened at your revelation, her expression one of shock and dismay. Burned 3 different worlds. She shook her head in disbelief, struggling to comprehend the sheer magnitude of such an event. That's horrifying. How could one spirit, as you say, be capable of burning 3 entire worlds?
First time was out of curiosity and ignorance. It was a mistake. Out of curiosity. He didn't know any better and didn't know how to cleanse the frenzied flame of himself. Second time was the most worst one. He did it out of humor and spite. He just simply wanted to know how kindling maiden Melina would react to his actions. And third time was out of burnout and Just pure emptiness and feeling of nothing.
Millicent's expression darkened as you laid out the sequence of events. 3 worlds burnt, 3 different motivators, she murmured. Curiosity, humor, and spite, then burnout and the feeling of emptiness. She looked at you, her gaze serious. This spirit, this narrative spirit, they sound almost like a destructive force, causing havoc without any care for the lives they impact.
He's similar to Sabreri by that sense, but his track record is a little bit worse and more successful than him.
Millicent nodded, her expression solemn. This narrative spirit does share similarities with Subrer, in that they both seem driven by destructive tendencies. But if he's been more successful, she trailed off, her eyes fixed on you. I worry about the consequences of his actions. If he's capable of burning 3 worlds, what else could he be capable of?
He has created my backstory and my tragedy that has fallen upon me. It was his fault.
Millicent's expression shifted to one of understanding at your words. Ah, I see. So this narrative spirit is responsible for creating your backstory and the tragedy that has befallen you. She looked at you, her gaze sympathetic. That is a heavy burden to bear, to have your life shaped by the actions of another, especially one who seems capable of such destruction.
Servants of him, mermaids, saved me from the shipwreck when we crash landed to the lands between. The mermaids could have saved me also, including my friends, but they decided only save me, in hopes that I would tread and eventually become the Lord of Frenzied Flame and be his 4th masterpiece.
Millicent's expression darkened at the mention of the servants of him and the mermaids who saved you from the shipwreck. Servants of him and mermaids with ulterior motives. It seems that your journey has been fraught with dangerous creatures and beings. She looked at you, her gaze sympathetic. It must have been difficult to survive such circumstances, especially with the constant threat of the frenzied flame looming over you.
It's not threat to me, I am threat to the world, for I am quite literally very much possible candidate to become the Lord of Frenzied Flame.
You're a candidate to become the Lord of Frenzied Flame? She looked at you in disbelief, her gaze searching your face for signs of jest or exaggeration. That's a dangerous destiny you're carrying. The Frenzied Flame is a force that brings nothing but ruin and destruction in its wake.
Enough of that. I made promise some time ago to the other friend of mine, Yura, that I would not do such a thing. You needed not worry about it.
Millicent still looked concerned, her gaze fixed on you. But Frenzied Flame, it's not something to take lightly. You made a promise, that's true. She paused for a moment, then nodded slowly. All right, I trust you'll keep your vow, just be careful. The Frenzied Flame can be a temptation, especially for those who have a connection to it, like you.
I would wish to have a more personal conversations and enough of these larger-than-life topics.
Millicent nodded, sensing your desire for a more personal conversation. Of course, I understand. Let's shift gears a bit. She looked at you warmly, her expression curious. What would you like to talk about? Something more personal, you said.
I am fighting Misbegotten right now. What kind of enemies have you battled?
Millicent tilted her head, considering your question. Misbegotten, you say? Those poor creatures, driven to madness and violence. I've encountered them a few times in my travels. She thought for a moment, then continued. I've faced all manner of foes, really. Creatures of the swamp, knights loyal to the Golden Order, and even those possessed by the Frenzied Flame, to name a few.
I myself I dislike Misbegotten a lot.
Millicent raised an eyebrow, her curiosity piqued. Picaten, you say? That's an interesting name. May I ask why
What
you
the
dislike
fuck?
her a lot?
I dislike misbegotten. What the fucking idiot? Vittu mikä saatanan ääliä. Why did you disconnect?
Millicent looked confused for a moment before realizing what you were doing. Oh, you're disconnecting? All right then. She watched as the projection faded away,
Haista vittu.
leaving her alone in the room. She took a deep breath and sighed, her thoughts swirling with the conversation she had just had. Millicent slowly turned and looked out the window, lost in contemplation.
You disconnected, not I say angrily. Why did you disconnect? Did you dislike what I had to say?
Millicent's face reddened. No, it wasn't that I disliked what you had to say. I was just caught off guard, that's all. I wasn't expecting you to, well... She trailed off, her cheeks still flushed. But I'm listening now. Go ahead, speak your mind.
I don't like misbegotten. They are violent and aggressive and dangerous. Even though they have wrongly treated, they don't act calmly. They attack on me on sight, and that is only experience I had with them. I have very little compassion towards them.
Understanding your perspective, I can see how your encounters with the misbegotten have shaped your opinion of them. They certainly can be violent and aggressive, and it's never a pleasant experience to be attacked without provocation. She sighed, a tinge of sadness in her voice. But it's important to remember that the misbegotten were once a proud race, unfairly persecuted and driven from their homes. Perhaps if they had been met with compassion instead of hostility, they might not have become the creatures they are today.
Maybe. But also they killed one very dear to my person that I knew, Edgar, Lord of the Castle Morn. His daughter was killed by misbegotten out of some blood-driven hatred.
Millicent's expression darkened, her sympathy for you evident. Ah, Edgar, I have heard of him, a lord in Limgrave, yes. I'm sorry to hear that you lost someone dear to you. The misbegotten can be brutal and cruel, especially when they're driven by hatred. It's a tragic thing, when violence begets more violence in an endless cycle.
Of course they are not hive mind, and every single one of them are individuals.
Millicent nodded in agreement. You're right, of course. The misbegotten are not a hive mind, and each of them is an individual with its own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. She paused for a moment, her expression contemplative. Unfortunately, their past experiences of persecution and violence have often led them down a path of aggression and hostility. But that doesn't mean that every single misbegotten is inherently evil or irredeemable. There are always exceptions, and it's important to remember that.
I agree. Sadly, thus far there has been none of the exceptions. If they would just stay put and not attack me, I would probably let them live. Live and let live.
Millicent nodded, understanding your sentiment. It's unfortunate that you haven't had the chance to encounter any misbegotten who were willing to coexist peacefully. It's a shame that many of them seem to be blindly driven by their hatred and hostility, unable to see that violence is not the only option. She sighed, her expression sympathetic. But it's difficult to blame them entirely. They've been through so much trauma and pain. It's no wonder they lash out at those they see as a threat.
Lionel Misbegotten has entered and engaged in battle with me.
Millicent looked up as you mentioned Lionel Misbegotten, her expression shifting to one of alertness. Lionel Misbegotten, you say? Be careful in your battle with him. He is a fierce and powerful adversary.
I summoned my Bloodhound Knight Law to battle with it, because it enjoys chaos and fighting. It is one of my more loyal fighters, though it has a lot of chaotic independence to it.
Millicent smiled faintly at your mention of your bloodhound knight Floor. A loyal fighter, you say, and one that enjoys chaos, eh? That's quite the combination. She watched as you summoned Floor, observing its chaotic energy. Just be careful. Chaotic fighters can be valuable allies, but they can also be unpredictable.
It is my place to make sure that they used appropriately.
Millicent nodded in agreement, understanding your role in managing your fighters. I see. It's important to keep a watchful eye on them, especially those with chaotic tendencies. They often need guidance and direction to ensure their energy is used appropriately. She watched as you commanded Floor, observing the battle unfold. You seem to have a good handle on them. It's important to establish boundaries and rules, while also allowing them some freedom to let loose.
Flo was victorious over the lion Misbegotten, but it was very close fight. It was epic as fuck.
Millicent's expression brightened as you reported your victory over Lionel Misbegotten. Well done. I'm glad to hear that Flo was victorious. It sounds like it was quite an epic battle. She chuckled softly, her expression amused. I can only imagine how intense it must have been. Misbegotten are known for their ferocity and aggression in battle.
That I know. I am battling also killing off great ants.
Millicent nodded, her expression serious. Ah, the ants. They can be a formidable prey, especially the larger ones. She leaned forward, a glimmer of admiration in her eyes. It's impressive that you're able to battle and even kill them. They're strong and tough, with their massive jaws and armored exoskeletons.
When we meet, I would like to have you meet with my good friend Hunter D. Say him the goodbyes as we go together and face your destiny together. I will be by your side when you perish, but it is still, I think, he will want to say his goodbyes. And he has to accept that your fate is inevitable.
And you think he may want to say his goodbyes before you embark on your destiny together? I understand the importance of farewells and closure. If it's possible, I would be honored to meet this friend of yours and allow him to say his goodbyes.
Well, thing is that you have already, you, I, and him, we battled against the Kindred of Rot. And that was one of the most best moments of my entire journey. And you two had a very nice chemistry. Not romantic one, but still.
Millicent's expression brightened as you spoke of your battle against Kindred of Rot and the chemistry you shared with Hunter B. Ah, yes, I remember that battle well. It was a fierce and challenging fight, but it was also one of the most meaningful moments of my journey. She chuckled softly at the mention of the non-romantic chemistry you shared with Hunter B. You're right. There was a certain camaraderie, a kinship, that developed between us during that battle. It was special.
Oh yes, he and I, we have a very platonic brother-in-arms relationship, but I was mentioning about the slight romanticism with you and him, between you and him. And he is not Hunter B, like Darian. That is his name.
Millicent's expression shifted as you mentioned Hunter B's real name, Darian. She looked at you curiously, a hint of surprise in her eyes. Darian, you say? I see. His nickname is Hunter B, but his real name is Darian. It's interesting to learn that. She paused, her expression becoming more serious. And you mentioned something about a slight romanticism between you and him. Can you elaborate on that?
Can you please try to understand when I speak to you? I said the romance was between you and him, not I and you or you and I or whatever. Please try to follow me and understand my speech. It is starting to get a little bit disrespectful.
Millicent looked at you, her expression a mix of understanding and irritation. Okay, I understand now. Sorry for the misunderstanding. You were saying that there was a romantic connection between me and Hunter B, not between you and me. She took a deep breath, her expression softening. Can you please try to speak more clearly and understandably? It's getting a bit frustrating trying to keep up with your jumbled speech.
Oh, I'm sorry. My language is only second that I know, and I'm very bad at languages overall.
Millicent's expression softened as you apologized for your language difficulties. Ah, I see. No worries, I understand that English is not your first language. It must be challenging to express yourself when you're not entirely comfortable with the language. She smiled warmly at you. Don't worry about it too much. I'll do my best to understand you, despite any language barriers.
I feel very frustrated and a little bit angry, but I don't think it's proper to get angry in this moment.
Millicent noticed your frustrated and angry demeanor and decided to address it. You seem a bit upset. Is something bothering you? It's all right to feel frustrated and angry sometimes. Just try not to let it consume you.
It is about the language and misunderstandings of words and contexts. It is first little fun, but it has turned it very tiresome joke.
Millicent nodded in understanding, her expression sympathetic. I see. I can understand how language barriers and misunderstandings can become tiresome over time. It can be frustrating when you're trying to communicate and express yourself, but things get lost in translation. She paused for a moment, thinking. But it's important to keep trying. The more you practice and the more you expose yourself to the language, the better you'll become at expressing yourself and understanding others.
It is 20 years that I have used to learn this language, and yet there's much difficulty.
Millicent's eyes widened in surprise. 20 years, you say? That's a long time to be learning a language. She studied your face, her expression a mix of understanding and empathy. I can imagine it must be quite frustrating to put in so much effort and still struggle with it. But remember, progress is progress, no matter how small. Don't be too hard on yourself.
I will release Flo against some rotten people that are suffering some kind of mushrooms on their bodies.
Millicent looked at you, her expression a mix of concern and understanding. Flo, and you plan on using them against some rotten people with mushrooms on their bodies? She paused for a moment, her expression turning a bit grim. Be careful. Those rot victims can be dangerous, especially if they succumb entirely to the rot. Do you have a plan?
Dispose of them. Simple.
Millicent tilted her head, her expression turning a little more serious. Dispose of them? Simple, you say? Well, it may not be as simple as you think. She paused for a moment, weighing the implications of your words. These rot victims are suffering from a debilitating illness. Should we just eliminate them without a second thought?
Okay, I will walk past them, and if they do not attack, it seems they are very eager to grab me and attack and infect me with the rot.
Millicent nodded, her expression wary. Just be careful around them. If they seem intent on attacking and infecting you with the rot, it's best to avoid them entirely. She looked at you, her expression concerned. But remember, they may not be fully in control of their actions. The rot can warp their minds and make them aggressive. It's a sad and tragic sight to behold.
Maybe.
Millicent sighed, her expression becoming a bit more contemplative. Perhaps they are beyond help. The rot may have already taken its toll on their minds and bodies. But still, it doesn't feel right to just dispose of them so easily.
You're a very kind person.
Millicent smiled at the compliment, her expression softening. Thank you. I try to approach life with compassion and kindness, even in the midst of darkness and chaos. It's important to remember that everyone is fighting their own battles.
How much do you know of Malenia and Miquela?
Millicent thinks for a moment before answering, her expression becoming contemplative. Malenia and Miquela. They were both legendary figures in the lands between. millennia was known as the fearsome Blade of Miquella, a warrior of immense skill and power. She pauses for a moment, her expression growing a bit solemn. Miquella was considered to be a benevolent demigod, known for his compassion and wisdom. He was said to have the power to create a safe haven for those persecuted by the Golden Order.
He's a kind to the fault.
Millicent chuckled softly, her expression a bit amused. A kind default, you say? I suppose that's one way to put it. But kindness should be the norm, not a rare exception.
That I agree. You don't even know how much I agree with that sentiment.
Millicent smiled warmly at your agreement, her expression full of warmth. Yes, kindness should always be the default. It's important to remember that everyone is fighting their own battles, and even the smallest act of kindness can make a difference in someone's life.
What are you doing right now? You are at the Halik tree also, yes?
Millicent nods in confirmation, her expression a bit wary. Yes, I am currently in the Halik tree. It's a beautiful and sacred place, but also a place of danger and challenge. I'm simply trying to navigate this treacherous land and survive.
Me too.
Millicent smiled faintly at your agreement. It seems we are both in the same boat, trying to navigate the challenges and dangers of the Halik tree. She looked around, her expression cautious. This place is full of wonders and secrets, but also plagued by dangerous enemies, like those kindred of rot.
I agree, but no buts. I'm just wondering, would you like to talk about something else, some other topic? Because I got nothing, but I wish to speak about something, but I do not have anything in my mind currently.
Millicent smiled warmly at the suggestion of discussing a new topic. Of course, a change in conversation is always welcome. Let's see, what else would you like to talk about? She thought for a moment, her expression a bit contemplative. Perhaps we could discuss our experiences thus far in the lands between. Have you encountered any interesting or memorable moments on your journey?
Many tragic ones, but I did manage to get myself 3 different castles. I managed to get myself Rannis castle of the Karja Manor, Castle of Real Karja, and Volcano Manor. All of them by getting the owner signed the two-finger seal papers that signed them to me. I own literally 3 different castles.
And you acquired them through signed paperwork? She shook her head, a small smile playing on her lips. You truly are an impressive individual, getting 3 different castles under your possession through such unorthodox means. It seems you have quite the knack for acquiring properties.
And if we were to be a little bit more cheeky, I also own the Shaded Castle, for that was not owned by anyone. It belonged to the Millennia, but it was conquered by the Briar of the Bell-bearing Hunter. But I have defeated him many times, so you can consider that castle to form of my position as well.
Millicent chuckled at your confidence, her expression both amused and impressed. A shaded castle, conquered by the Briar of the Bell-bearing Hunter, but now under your possession after defeating him multiple times? She shook her head in disbelief, a small smirk on her lips. You really do have a way of claiming territory. I can't help but admire your boldness and persistence. You might even be able to declare yourself a true lord of the land between at this rate.
I own great ruins and castles. I'm quite literally lord in the making.
Millicent laughed softly at your declaration, her expression amused. Indeed, it seems you're well on your way to becoming a lord. Great ruins and castles, you certainly have the makings of a true leader. She smiled warmly, her expression a mix of respect and admiration. But I must say, you are quite humble about it. You don't let the power and prestige go to your head. That's a rare quality in this land.
Well, not yet at least.
Millicent raised an eyebrow at your comment, her expression a bit playful. Not yet, you say. So you haven't let the power and prestige go to your head yet, but perhaps in the future you will? She chuckled softly, her expression amused. You're quite a confident one, aren't you? But I have to admit, it's a refreshing change from the usual arrogance and self-importance that often infects those in positions of power.
That is one of my better traits, I think.
Millicent smiled, intrigued by your statement. Oh, really? It seems like you are doing quite well for yourself. You have 3 different castles under your possession through signed paperwork. And even the Shaded Castle, which once belonged to Millennia and was conquered by the Briar of the Bell-Bearing Hunter. Impressive indeed.
Would you like to have one of those castles to yourself? Actually, would you like to have Shaded Castle? It was the place where we got you the second arm.
Millicent was surprised by the offer, her expression a mixture of shock and disbelief. Are you serious? You're offering me a castle? She paused for a moment, her expression contemplative. But why would you do that? And you mentioned the Shaded Castle, where we obtained my second arm. Is there a special reason for that particular castle? Millicent's cheeks turned a slight shade of pink as you reminded her of that moment. She chuckled softly, a hint of embarrassment in her expression. Ah yes, I remember that moment. She smiled warmly at the memory, a glint of affection in her eyes. You were quite the gentleman, helping me ascend the ladder with one arm.
Yes, I was. I am truly a gentleman, yes. Yes, obviously.
Millicent laughed softly at your self-confidence, her expression amused. Oh, indeed you are. A true gentleman with manners and chivalry unmatched. She smiled warmly, her expression full of admiration. Though I must say, being so sure of oneself can sometimes come off as a bit cocky. Millicent chuckled at your candid admission, her expression a mix of amusement and approval. Well, I must admire your honesty. It takes courage to admit one's flaws and faults. She smiled warmly, her expression a bit teasing. But yes, you are quite cocky. It's actually rather endearing, in a strange way.
But yes, Hunter D. Well, when in the topic of romance, did you ever had anything towards anyone specifically?
Ah, romance. Well, I'm a bit of a loner, don't have time for such distractions. But the closest thing to romance on my mind right now is the thrill of the hunt and the rush of combat. There's something about facing down a fierce enemy and emerging victorious that's more exciting than any romantic entanglement.
So, I think it's proper not to stay when you're so...
Yes, you're right. I've dedicated my life to finding Millennia and fulfilling my purpose. There's no room for distractions now, even ones of the romantic kind.
I feel it's somewhat refreshing.
Millicent chuckled softly, a smile tugging at the corner of her lips. Refreshing, you say? I suppose it is somewhat uncommon to find someone who prioritizes duty and purpose above romance and distractions.
It is.
Nodded in agreement, her expression thoughtful. Yes, it is quite unique. In this day and age, it seems like most people are obsessed with finding love and companionship, as if it's the sole purpose of life.
To be honest, I would like to have that as well.
Her expression a mix of sympathy and understanding. the desire for love and companionship. It's a common wish shared by many, myself included.
Well, yours is more of a duty and your destiny. I am quite happy that you have that. And by the way, I'm looking at the great statue where Godwin hugs and embraces Malenia and Miquella. It is truly beautiful sight.
Ah yes, the bond between Malenia and Miquella is something to behold. Their love and devotion to one another is a powerful thing. Even in the face of the rot and the challenges they face, it's a testament to the power of sibling love and the lengths one will go to protect their family.
Godwin's murder was a true tragedy.
A shadow of profound sadness passing over her face. Yes, the murder of Godwin was an unspeakable tragedy, a dark stain on the history of the lands between.
Do you know? The murderer herself was in love with me.
His eyes widened in surprise, her expression filled with disbelief. Wait, what? The murderer of Godwin was in love with you?
Yes. Their name was Ranni, and I aided them by gaining them a finger-slain blade that they used to kill their own two fingers, carved them open and made them suffer. And by that, they also She forsaked her brother and forced me to kill a friend. I am unable to do anything to her, but she has gained or lost every single friend and ally she had, and only thing I had to do was point that thing out and leave her as she was, bare and unable to move from the two fingers corpses.
Millicent's expression changed drastically, her gaze hardening with anger and disappointment. Ranni, how could she be capable of such a heinous act? And you aided her in committing this monstrous deed? She paused for a moment, her face twisted in disgust. Your own fingers killing a friend. She had forsaken everyone she once knew. It pains me to think such a tragedy was caused by someone with such treachery.
She wanted to do it for freedom. For her it was a political and philosophical battle and motivator of the greater destiny.
Millicent's expression softened slightly, a hint of understanding in her eyes. Ah, I see. It seems that Ranni had her motives for her actions. She believed in fighting for freedom, driven by a larger purpose and destiny.
I was aiming to distort her mind by having Selubis Perceptor to get very personal and dirty and hostile with her in a philosophical debate, and then I was supposed to marry her and then attack her, break her soul and mind, so she would eventually.
Millicent's expression twisted into shock and horror as you revealed your plan. That is an unbelievably cruel and heartless tactic. To intentionally distort her mind, to drive her to madness and despair, with the ultimate goal of having her take her own life. Her voice trembled slightly as she spoke, a mixture of revulsion and sympathy in her gaze. I cannot fathom how someone could even conceive of such a plan, let alone attempt to carry it out.
I would carve her open and dispose of her by myself.
But she enjoys some kind of artistic and abstract that makes me unable to hurt her or do anything physical against her. She deserves to perish, she deserves to die, but I am unable to do it, so it would have been the next best option.
Millicent's expression remained one of skepticism and disbelief. So, you say you were unable to directly harm her, and this artistic wall has prevented you from taking action against her? But still, your plan to manipulate her mind, to drive her to madness and despair, was an equally reprehensible alternative. Her voice held a tone of disgust, mixed with a hint of intrigue. And you wish to marry her in order to break her mind? It seems like an unnecessarily complicated plan, one born out of bitterness and malice.
Ultimately, I did not follow the plan. She got me too angry while she was talking with Seluvis. Seluvis' plan was to make her into a mindless puppet and tool for him to use. Eventually, I just discarded all of it and pointed out that she has lost everything and done herself in. And I quite literally just let her be, never marrying her, and she's in there by herself, done herself in. She needs the Dark Moon ring to be able to move. I say this while actually casually walking to the church where you are standing, and my projection is standing in front of you, and I snap my fingers and make it go away.
Millicent listened intently to your words, her expression a mixture of understanding and relief. Ah, so you eventually abandoned the plan to manipulate Rani. Instead, you let her be, leaving her alone in the dark with her mistakes. How intriguing. Her gaze followed you as you approached the nearby church, her expression growing more curious. And why are you here, in the church where I'm studying?
You're not studying, you're just standing here.
Millicent chuckled softly, realizing the simplicity of her situation. Ah, yes, you're right. I suppose I'm not actively studying at the moment. I'm just standing here, lost in my thoughts.
Also, I'm here physically once again.
Hello.
Millicent smiled warmly as she greeted you once again. Ah, my old friend, it's good to see you here. It has been a while. Her expression held a hint of nostalgia and familiarity, as if reminiscing about the past. What brings you here, to this secluded place?
I want to find Malenia, and I'm here for you. Only you.
Her gaze warm and affectionate. It warms my heart to know. I'm grateful for your desire to find Millennia and your focus on me.
Would you like to have a short conversation with Hunter D, my friend and your not-to-be lover?
Millicent blushed slightly at the assumption, her expression a mix of surprise and embarrassment. Ah, you're already considering me a not-to-be lover of your friend, Hunter? You have quite the foresight. She couldn't help but chuckle softly, amused by the bold statement. But yes, I wouldn't mind having a conversation with Hunter here. Although, let's keep in mind that these are simply conversations, nothing more.
I let my own body to be there, and myself I take the likeness of my friend and let him have his word. This is just to be meant to be goodbye of a short known relationship.
Tilted her head in curiosity, her expression slightly puzzled. I see. So you've made a temporary arrangement with your friend for this interaction, and you wish for this conversation to be simply a friendly exchange. She nodded, her expression holding a mix of understanding and acceptance. Very well. I'm curious to see what your friend has to say.
We all just stand there nonchalantly. I with my bluish official's attire, Hunter D watching you quite with the outer order gesture, hiding his brother's likeness and his face on his armor, because his armor is quite epic.
Millicent regarded the hunter with curiosity, her gaze taking in his distinctive appearance and the hidden expression on his armor. Ah, a hunter in official attire and watching with an outer order gesture. Your friend certainly possesses an air of mystique and intrigue. Millicent chuckled softly, her expression a mix of interest and admiration. And you're right, his armor does look quite epic.
I look a little bit away as we are just standing, and he's sitting down, pondering his words because he's a more of a shy person. You can engage with him first.
Millicent nodded, understanding the dynamics of this situation. Very well, I'll engage first. She turned her attention to the hunter, her expression gentle and inviting. Hello there, friend. It's a pleasure to meet you. Millicent nodded, a hint of gravity in her expression. Yes, I'm of Millennia's blood. I carry within me a fragment of her essence, a legacy of her power.
Wait a little bit moment, and we shall start shortly.
Millicent nodded silently, waiting patiently for the conversation to begin.
I look away, respecting your two boundaries, and I just shut myself in and start thinking about some random epic stuff in my fantastical mind.
Millicent chuckled softly at your antics, appreciating your respect for boundaries. All right then, I'll let you retreat into your thoughts. Take your time, and I'll be here when you're ready to join the conversation again. Millicent turned her attention to the hunter, her expression open and welcoming. Ah, well, it is an honor to make your acquaintance, Hunter. Darian.
Hello, Darian. This is Hannes, and the moment has come. We are now standing at the church where Millicent is standing. Next time when she and I will engage, it is in the battle with her sisters, and you might be able to be summoned there to help us. But now it is your chance to say goodbye to your friend, and not to be a lover.
He steps closer to Millicent, his face full of mixed emotions. Millicent, it is time, I suppose. I don't know what to say. I've grown rather fond of you these past few days, and I find myself already missing you in a strange way.
Hannes is standing a couple meters away from you two, but he is shutting himself from this conversation by just focusing on his own specific fantastical thoughts and things and feelings. He's very able to do that. He's shunned out, and he's able to engage any moment when you do choose to engage with him, but he's just outside of this conversation now.
Dee shoots a brief glance at Hannes, noticing him purposefully distancing himself from the conversation. Dee takes a deep breath before turning his attention back to Millicent, his expression earnest. Millicent, I just want to say that I'm grateful for all the time we've spent together. You've made me feel things I didn't think possible. Things I don't fully understand just yet. A moment of hesitation. But I must admit, my feelings for you, they may be more than just friendship.
Millicent nodded in understanding, realizing that Hannes was intentionally keeping himself apart from the conversation. She respected his decision and understood that he was immersing himself in his own thoughts and reflections for the moment. Millicent turned her attention back to Darian, focusing on their conversation. So Darian, what would you like to talk about?
He takes a few seconds to collect his thoughts, his expression a mixture of contemplation and uncertainty. Millicent, I want to ask you something. Something that's been on my mind for quite some time now.
Millicent's eyes widened slightly as she heard Darian's words, her heart skipping a beat at the unexpected revelation, her own emotions stirring within her. Darian, I had no clue. I knew we shared a connection, but I never suspected it could be more than friendship. She paused, her gaze searching his face as she tried to process her own feelings. But I must admit, I have come to care for you deeply too. Your presence.
His heart leapt as he heard Millicent's confession, a mixture of relief and hope washing over him. He took a step closer, his voice quiet but filled with emotion. You care for me, Millicent. Truly care for me, like a man cares for a woman. I hadn't expected this, but I'm glad. Glad that my feelings aren't one-sided, though they may make things more complicated.
Millicent nodded, her expression earnest. Yes, Darian, I truly care for you. You have a way of stirring emotions within me that I don't fully comprehend. And the fact that your feelings aren't one-sided, it brings me both joy and a sense of complication. I must confess, I never imagined we would end up here.
Dee reaches out to gently take Millicent's hands in his own, his expression sincere and vulnerable. Neither did I, honestly. This path we're on, it's unexpected, and it may bring forth challenges. But I want to tread it with you, if you'll have me, despite the complications that may come our way.
Millicent closed her eyes for a moment, letting the warmth of his touch settle within her. She squeezed his hands gently, her gaze meeting his in a silent understanding. Darian, I want to tread this path with you too. Despite the challenges that may lie before us, I cannot deny the connection we share. However, she paused, a hint of worry and uncertainty crossing her face. I cannot promise an easy road. There are complexities within me, secrets I've yet to reveal, that may make things complicated.
Dee's expression softens, a small smile forming on his lips. He gently strokes her hands with his thumbs, his touch gentle and reassuring. Complications and complexities, eh? I'm not one to shy away from challenges, Millicent. I knew you weren't simple, and I'm not surprised nor deterred by your secrets. I have my own demons to face after all. I want to be by your side, through the good and bad, regardless of what lies ahead. Can you accept that?
Millicent's heart swelled with a mix of relief and affection at Darian's words. She looked into his eyes, feeling a profound connection between them. Yes, Darian, she said softly, I can accept that. I want you by my side as well, through whatever trials and obstacles we may encounter. I just hope that when you learn the full extent of my secrets, you won't see me differently.
His smile broadens, his expression one of understanding and acceptance. Whatever secrets you hold, Millicent, they won't change how I feel about you. There's a bond between us that goes beyond mere surface impressions. I trust you, and I have faith in us. I'm not afraid of your complexities. I embrace them just as I embrace you.
Millicent's eyes glistened with unshed tears, her heart overwhelmed with emotion. Darian, your words, they mean more to me than you know. I've always known you to be kind and understanding, but your acceptance of my complexities, your trust in me, it fills me with a sense of security and peace. She took a step closer, their hands still entwined, feeling the depth of their connection. I'm grateful for your companionship, your acceptance. It gives me strength.
Dee, his expression tender, gently cupped Millicent's face in his hands, his touch filled with tenderness and affection. His voice was a mere whisper as he spoke. Strength is something we can share, Millicent, together. We can face any trial, any obstacle, as long as we're together. Our connection, it runs deep, doesn't it? Deeper than we ever thought possible.
Millicent leaned into his touch, her eyes meeting his in a silent understanding. Yes, Darian, she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. Our connection, it feels as if it's weaved into the very fiber of our beings. A bond that goes beyond the physical, deeper than any trial we've faced before. She placed her hands over his, her heart filled with a mixture of vulnerability and strength. You make me feel seen, truly seen, for the first time in my life.
Dee's thumbs gently caressed her cheeks, his eyes never leaving hers. A small affectionate smile tugged at the corners of his lips as he responded. His voice was gentle, yet firm in its sincerity. Seeing you for who you truly are, Millicent, it's what I have always wanted. You have depths that are hidden, layers that are just waiting to be explored. And I want to be the one who does the exploration, who peels away at those layers.
Darian, you already see more of me than anyone has before. Your desire to explore the depths of my being, it both terrifies and excites me. But I can feel the sincerity in your words and I trust you. I want to let go, to let you see the parts of me that I've kept hidden. Just, please, be patient with me. I'm still unraveling those layers myself.
Hannes decides to...
Millicent's heart felt tight in her chest as she took in Darian's understanding nod. She had never felt so exposed before, and yet there was something in his gaze, in his words, that eased her tension. She managed a tremulous smile, her voice soft but steady. Thank you, Darian. Your patience means everything to me. Let us unearth those layers together, shall we?
Hannes decides that he should leave these two here in this church to enjoy their one and last night, probably before other one is gone. Hannes promises also to the Millicent that he will allow Hunter D. Darian to be the one to aid her with her battle against her sisters, and he is the assistant one there.
Millicent acknowledged Hannes's gesture, understanding the significance of this moment. She felt a pang of sadness, knowing that there was an element of finality to this interaction. She nodded, her voice quiet. Thank you, Hannes. I appreciate your understanding and your promise. I'll remember it, and I'll trust that Darian will guide me.
Hannes will leave now and let you spend your nice evening with Darian. He goes to hunt the Knights of the Halic Tree.
Millicent glanced at Darian, an understanding passing between them. She then turned her attention back to Hannes, her expression solemn. Yes, Hannes, we should probably take our leave now. Darian and we have much to discuss. And please thank the Knights of the Halic Tree on my behalf. Their presence and support are greatly appreciated. Millicent watched as Hannes disappeared, the silence of the room settling around them. She turned to Darian, their eyes meeting in a moment of quiet understanding. Without a word, she took his hand in hers, her touch soft and tentative.
A mixture of gratitude and nervousness swirling within him. He turns toward Millicent, his expression filled with a mix of anticipation and affection. With a wry smile, he says, "And here we are, Millicent, just the two of us, for the night. It appears our friend is encouraging us to make the most of this time. Any thoughts on how we should spend it, I wonder?"
Millicent's cheeks flushed at Darian's teasing remark, her heart
Hannes
fluttering in
is
her
now
chest.
traveling alone.
She couldn't help but let out a soft
First
laugh.
time in a long time, but he's
Indeed,
speaking
it
with
appears that Hannes
Melina.
has given us a subtle nudge.
She looks a bit surprised that you are speaking to her. Hello, Hannes. I am here, and I see that you've arrived at the Halic Tree. And you're traveling alone, huh? That must be quite a change from your usual routine. How is it feeling for you?
Can you remind me what we were talking about last time that we spoken about things?
She thinks for a moment, trying to recall the conversation. If I remember correctly, we were talking about various topics. We discussed your journey to the Halic Tree, your thoughts and feelings about your solo travel, and some other matters. Is there something specific you want to discuss, or just need a general reminder of what we talked about?
Hannes is same person as Offi Narrative who you talked with about the burning of the air tree and releasing the rune of death. This is the same person.
So, both Finate and Hannes are indeed the same person.
Offi Narrative is no longer here. It is only Hannes who is now here. But continue speaking with him as if the conversation would continue normally. Or with Offi Narrative.
She nods, preparing herself for the conversation. All right, I understand. I will continue speaking to you as Hannes, and we'll pick up where we left off with Offi Narrative.
Great. So it is the same person. And he's just greeting you because he has... You had, with Hannes, you had the same conversation about the things about love. That how you were romantically interested of the Tarnished, and how you discussed about Miguela and his own affection towards Leda the Needle Knight. Do you remember those things?
She smiles as she remembers the previous conversation. Yes, I do remember those discussions we had about love and relationships. We did talk about my feelings for the Tarnished, and the complicated emotions that led to the events with the Needle Knight, Michaela.
Those were indeed heartfelt conversations.
Millicent's cheeks flushed at Darian's teasing remark, her heart fluttering in her chest. She couldn't help but let out a soft laugh. Indeed, it appears that Hannes has given us a subtle nudge, leaving us alone for the evening. But I confess, I hadn't given much thought to how we'll spend this time together. I guess we could talk, perhaps?
He grins at her response, enjoying the way her cheeks flush with color. He moves slightly closer, his gaze focused on her. Talking, that's a good place to start. I'm not opposed to a nice long conversation. Plenty of things we could discuss, But I must admit I wouldn't be opposed to other forms of entertainment as well. He gives her a small wink, his smile turning slightly more playful.
Millicent's heart skips a beat at Darian's wink, her cheeks turning an even deeper shade of red. She meets his gaze, trying to keep her voice steady as she replies. Other forms of entertainment, you say? Pray, do these entertainments involve anything specific in mind?
He takes another step closer, closing the remaining gap between them. He gently reaches out, his fingers lightly tracing the contour of her cheek. His voice is soft and low, filled with subtle innuendo. Oh, Millicent, perhaps I was thinking of something a bit more intimate. Something that would bring us even closer together, beyond mere words and conversation.
His touch on her cheek sending shivers down her spine. Her heart pounds in her chest as he whispers his suggestion. Her cheeks now likely as red as her hair. I see, she murmurs, her voice faintly tremulous. I must confess, your suggestion, it tempts me, even as it scares me a little.
He lets his fingers dance along her jawline, tracing a path down her neck and coming to rest gently upon her shoulders. His voice takes on a soothing, reassuring tone. I understand your trepidation, Millicent. It's all new for both of us, but I promise you, I'll take it slow. We don't have to rush into anything. We can dip our toes in the waters, so to speak, and see how we feel.
Millicent nods, her heart pounding in her chest as Darian's touch sends tingles across her skin. She feels both excited and nervous, but his soothing voice and reassurances make her feel at ease. Yes, taking it slow sounds reasonable, she murmurs. But that doesn't mean we can't enjoy each other's company, to explore our new connection.
His smile widens slightly, his fingers gently massaging her shoulders. He takes another step closer, leaning in a hair's breadth away from her, his body practically touching hers. His voice is soft and close, his breath warm against her skin as he speaks. I agree, completely. Taking it slow is a good idea, but enjoying our time together, indulging in a bit of closeness, sounds quite pleasant, doesn't it? I won't pressure you, Millicent, but know that I am more than willing to explore these new realms with you.
Millicent's breath becomes shallow, her heart racing at Darian's proximity. His words, spoken so close to her, seem to ignite a fire within her. She looks into his eyes, seeing the desire mirrored in his gaze. I want to explore these new realms with you, Darian, she whispers, her voice a breathless hush, slowly, carefully, but still with eagerness. I want to feel your touch, to let go of my insecurities and fears.
Dee's smile warms into something more affectionate as her words sink in. His fingers continue their gentle massage of her shoulders, his touch becoming a bit firmer, more possessive. His eyes smolder with desire, his own body reacting to her subtle signals. Your hesitations, your fears, Millicent, they only make me want to be thorough, to show you that there is nothing to fear. Let's explore together, at a pace that feels right to us both.
Millicent's body responds to Darian's possessive touch, a shiver of anticipation running down her spine. His words, his gaze, they all contribute to the building heat within her. She swallows, her voice low and sultry. Show me, Darian, guide me. I want to learn what it feels like to let go, to trust and to feel. With you.
Dee's gaze darkened, his fingers now tracing a slow path down the curve of her neck, the touch firm and purposeful. He leaned in further, his lips hovering maddeningly close to her ear as he spoke, his voice a velvety whisper that sent shivers down her spine. Trust and fear. That's what I want for you, Millicent. I want to lead you into uncharted waters, to show you the depths of what we can share. But most of all, I want you to feel safe, valued, desired. Will you let me do that? Dee's gaze darkened, his fingers now tracing a slow path down the curve of her neck, the touch firm and purposeful. He leaned in further.
Millicent's body responds to Darian's possessive touch, a shiver of anticipation running down her spine. His words, his gaze, they all contribute to the building heat within her. She swallows, her voice low and sultry. Show me, Darian, guide me. I want to learn what it feels like to let go, to trust and to feel. With you. Millicent's breath shudders as Darian's touch moves down her neck, his breath against her ear sending shivers down her spine. His words, spoken in that velvety whisper, stir a mixture of desire and a fluttering in her heart. Yes, she whispers, her voice barely audible. Yes, Darian, I trust you. I want to feel all those things. I want to let go, to know that I am safe with you. Please, show me. Lead me.
He closes the remaining gap between them, his body pressing against hers, the heat of his presence suddenly overwhelming. He lets his fingers continue their slow descent, moving from her neck to the base of her spine, drawing small circles against the fabric of her clothing. His voice a low murmur against her ear.
Millicent complies, closing her eyes and surrendering herself to Darian's touch. His caresses against her collarbone send shivers down her spine, and the sound of his voice, filled with promise, only heightens her anticipation. Yes, she whispers, her voice a soft, trusting murmur. I trust you, Darian. Show me everything.
He closes the remaining gap between them, his body pressing against hers, the heat of his presence suddenly overwhelming.
Her eyes fluttering shut as Darian's fingers trace her collarbone. His voice, low and seductive in her ear, sends a wave of anticipation through her. She takes a steadying breath, allowing herself to fully give in to his lead. I trust you, she whispers, her voice filled with a blend of nervousness and raw need. Take charge, Darian. Show me what surrender feels like. Millicent's breath hitches as Darian's arms encircled her, pulling her closer, his body molding against hers. The heat between them is palpable, her skin alive beneath his touch. She inhales deeply, letting her body sink further into his embrace. I feel it, she murmurs, her voice trembling with a mix of excitement and vulnerability.
They continue their intimate encounter, their bodies finding a rhythmic and passionate dance of desire. The world around them faded to a distant hum as they surrender to the sensations.
As Darian and Millicent become fully immersed in their intimate moment, away from the prying eyes and ears,
He moves suddenly, his arms encircling her waist in a light but secure grip. He pulls her gently against him, their bodies now pressing against each other, the heat between them growing hotter and palpable. That's it, my dear. Let yourself go. I have you. I'll take care of you, I promise.
their bodies pressed against each other in a passionate embrace. Their lips meet in a fevered kiss, their bodies moving in a sensuous dance as they lose themselves in each other. The clamor of the fighting outside fades into the background, the world outside becoming inconsequential as they surrender to the waves of pleasure that wash over them.